Our next speaker is Garret Gillespie. Said that right? Okay. Gillespie. He loves words. Throughout his life, words and phrases have piqued his interest and motivated study into their meanings and origins. For the next 5 to 7 minutes, Garret wishes to discuss 3 nouns. The first, a reason for existence. The second, a virtue possessed by few. And the third, endurance in the face of difficulties. This will be Garret's 3rd speech from the Competent Communicator Manual. The objective being get to the point. Please join me in welcoming Garret.
Postmaster.
You notice this over here? We got it.
Yeah, creepy stage. You have to watch that when you're up here. 2 years ago this month, a big change took place in my life and in the life of my family, my sweet wife and I. We had been running an IT consultancy for 8 years. And 2 years ago, I lost a big client. But it didn't destroy our hopes. Our objective was to keep this business alive come hell or high water. We were determined to do it. A few months passed, and we saw the writing on the wall. It was going to be very difficult to resuscitate this business. And then one evening, Corey, on a whim, found a job posting on an online site. And on a whim, what she read through it, noticed that some of it drew a familiar chord to what my experience was. And so on a whim, she sent it, emailed it to me across the room. You know, 2 computers in the same room, but we communicate through the internet. Go figure. But I received that email just before I shut down that very same night. And on a whim, I submitted that application. We forgot about it. Weeks passed, and then after some time period, I got a phone call. I was invited for a phone interview with this employer. I accepted that phone interview. I needed to practice anyways. I wasn't really looking at this point because we were going to resuscitate the business. That was still our goal. I went through that phone interview, and during that interview, Corey was sitting at her desk on the other side of the room while I spoke to the individual that was interviewing me. Toward the end of the interview, the interviewer asked me, "So why do you want to leave private enterprise and rejoin the corporate sector?" And I said, I didn't know I was leaving private enterprise and rejoining the corporate sector. The posting made no note about that. I thought perhaps I could just add it as something to my current business. And he said, no, it is full-time and it is in Salt Lake. I rotated in my office chair and I looked at my beautiful wife and I just repeated his phrase, it is full-time and it is in Salt Lake. All of our family, our grandchildren, everyone is down in Mesa, Arizona. And Corey did something that has changed our lives. Do you have a purpose that gets you up in the morning? Do you have a focus, a core creative force that fires your passion, that excites your emotions, and that moves you forward? The definition of purpose is the reason for which something exists, or for which it has been done or made. The goal or intended outcome of something. Purpose. Do you have a purpose? The author, Jack Zufelt, in the book The DNA of Success, calls it your core desire. He says that if you find your purpose, if you can find your core desire, that fire that gets you up, you don't even have to write it down as a goal. It comes naturally. You write down goals to pursue it, but he says if you truly find that core purpose, it doesn't have to be written down. You don't have to remind yourself of it. It's in your heart, and it's in your mind. Seek that out. Now, I'm preaching to the choir, I know, because all of us are here because we want to perfect our communication skills. We want to improve ourselves. But as you move through life, share and show the example of finding your purpose and going after it. That's the first P of my 3 Ps. The second P is patience. Oh, patience. Elusive. Maxima enum patientia Virtus. Patience is the greatest virtue, the Latin. And it's possessed by few. And the definition of patience is the ability to endure waiting, delay, or provocation without becoming annoyed or upset, or to persevere calmly when faced with difficulties. Now, in a world where television programs give us 30-minute resolutions, the entire plot takes place in 30 minutes, and everybody's happy by the end. In a world where we base our time in nanoseconds, in a world where we have smartphones that we can use on airplanes, we can plug into the internet while we're flying at 600 miles per hour, 36,000 feet above the ground, and we get frustrated because it takes 15 seconds for a web page to load. Patience is a virtue that we need to nurture, because if you find that purpose, that core desire, that really has any fuel, it's not going to be something that you'll be able to resolve in 30 minutes. You won't accomplish this core desire in an afternoon. This core purpose is what needs to carry you forward, and it should change over time. We found our purpose. We feel we possess the virtue of patience. What comes next? Perseverance. P number 3. Once we know what our purpose is, at least at this time, and we feel we possess the patience to endure the challenges that we'll need to face, the next challenge is to dig deep and find the ability to persevere in the face of all obstacles. Definition of perseverance: steady and continued action or belief, usually over a long period, and especially despite difficulties or setbacks. Perseverance, in the words of Walter Elliott, is not a long race. It is many short races, one after the other. Persevere in the face of all obstacles. Find your purpose. Be patient with yourself as you experience setbacks, and accomplish the goals that you seek. Madam Toastmaster.